Hey everyone, today we're going to be making this vintage antique lavender collection of a bridal bouquet. It has layers of different materials in that create that visual interest and allow those flowers to dance over one another. It's kind of a wildflower collection look, but just taking a look at the different materials, it has a lot of varieties of textures and visual interest in a bridal bouquet. So let's take a look at creating this. All right, to start this bridal bouquet, we're gonna do it as a hand tied. So I have cleaned my flowers here and prepped them all. To start off with, I'm gonna start with some eucalyptus. And so just coming in, laying that in horizontally, and then coming in with my next material and over the top and tipping that in. So we use our C, our hand here, as the bind point and kind of alternate the different materials. You can turn as you go, and you can see how those foliages create just a good base structure. Then we're gonna start by going down our line of floral materials. I have a couple different colors of roses here. This rose is Govinda, a new rose from Rosa Prima that is in that antique lavender. And then we're using the Amnesia rose, which is a stunning color. And you can see, I'm not gonna do a lot of placing up and down right away, but as I'm coming in, I'm also using some carnations in this. I need to prep these a little bit, just pop the heads a little bit and get them to be a little larger. I'm gonna use them in pairs, and they will become kind of a hydrangea. And so we're gonna use them down in as basing, but to get that great coloring, that antique lavender color in with that awesome carnation. So if we come in with a pair of them here, they can come in as spacing between our elements here. So what we're gonna do is create the base bouquet, and then we're gonna come back and add some of the floating flowers. And so I'm just coming in with my base materials. I've got kind of the back third done. Then I'm gonna come back over here to the front and come in and lay in another round of the materials. So one of each of the roses. I have 2 spray roses, so I can add those in. We'll get our carnations in down as that spacing there, and then come in. So I'm not really worrying about all of the heights up and down and final placement. What I'm doing is working on getting that spiral with the stems, turning the different materials, and then just getting a good base structure. You can see the placement is really in and out. There's a lot of depth within the different materials, and so we're just coming in, and then we'll start to create the final placement, start adjusting things to get that highs and lows. Actually use a mirror to look into to be able to kind of bring things up and down and create that layered look. The layered look is really about that depth within the bouquet, having multiple layers. Now that I have a good spiral going, I'm able to actually loosen my hands a little bit and come in with a rose right in that focal area, so that I'm able to bring that up into the place that I want it to there. Add a last couple carns right over on this side here. And then we're gonna start adding our layers of other materials. So I have some mauve stock here that I'm gonna come in with, and each material I'm coming in with, I'm bringing them into the design and just continuing to watch that I have that spiral presentation. Just gonna cut these off a little bit. It's gonna be easier for me to handle and kind of show you guys what's going on. So now we have some more of the unique blooms. And so something like the butterfly ranuncula is a new popular flower, but what you want to do is make sure that they're up and dancing in right through the middle. And so if you've got that great spiral going, but you do want to watch as you're putting that down in through, that it's still following that spiral pattern. And then we can come in with some of the Hydrangea too. This is in the blush tone, and we're able to bring some of those different materials in. Kind of keep turning the bouquet to make sure that you're keeping it all coming together. So I've got a couple scoops, and I'm gonna bring those in together. And then we have some of the chocolate lace here that we're gonna come in with. And we have some greens that we're saving for the collaring on the outside. But I do have a little bit of wax flower to give a little bit more of that wild look. And I'm gonna be putting that in more in groupings. So rather than it being dotty everywhere, I'm just coming in with a cluster in one area and kind of binding it together to be able to create that more of a cluster look. And then we'll get just one of the pieces coming through the middle. So you can see some of the roses all ended up being together. What I'm gonna do is kind of get everything in place, and then I'm gonna go to the mirror and I'm gonna take a look, and that's when I will figure out final placement on those different layers. Right now, I'm just getting my floral materials distributed throughout the whole bouquet, the different materials, and then we'll come in and make some of those final adjustments to get those different layers to kind of dance together one over another as we're going through our bouquet here. Just to add a little bit textural difference, I'm gonna come in with some hypericum, which I kind of call the jewelry of the floral industry. So it adds that pearl effect in there, and just a totally different texture than some of our other materials that add that visual interest. Fragrance is something too that people are looking for, and so I have some lavender, and I'm gonna bring that kind of on the perimeter because then the bride will actually kind of have it pass in front of her nose and have it add that scent into the bouquet. This is a Charlotte Rossano disc bud, and it opens up a little bit and has a little bit more lavender, but I did actually color enhance these with some Just for Flowers lavender to be able to pop it a little bit more to the lavender tone. But something like that, they're kind of like dahlia-like, and they add that other influence, kind of that garden influence. And so now is when we could go step over to the mirror and start raising and lowering some of these items. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. So lastly, what I'm gonna do is come around and do some collaring with some of my final foliages. So that's just bringing a finished edge around the bouquet. So I use my same variety of greens, alternating those to give a professional finish to the edge of that bouquet. But to finish this off and tie it off, I'm actually going to use some bind wire. And so I prepared some bind wire. I did a long piece and I folded it over itself 4 times. So we're going to come through, and you can come and you bypass and take them opposite directions. That way the energy from the twist goes in, it'll make it tighter. Then grab that knot and just twist 3 more times. And then we'll get a great tight bind. We're gonna cut that off and then just take that and tuck it back up into the bouquet. And then I prepared some ribbons. We're seeing ribbon streamers come back in through, so I like to keep it simple, but I did a combination here of a sheer number 9 ribbon and a double face satin and layered those to kind of get a little bit more volume and depth of color on that lavender by adding that pewter double face satin with it. And so we're just gonna come in and just do a simple square knot here that adds a nice finish. Come over and then cut our bouquet. Now here's the big ooh-ha. If you've done a spiral correctly, you actually should have it be able to stand, and ta-da, it does. So you take a look at it and the different materials, you can see how it has the different layers coming through and the different textures, how some of the flowers that are more unique flowers just dance on top those base flowers. I'm Sandy Schroeck for LBR Educates, and I hope that I inspired you to create some fabulous florals.